Throughout Washington, D.C. and the surrounding areas stand the monuments that tell the story of America. These grand structures of metal, mortar, and granite symbolize a grateful nation's appreciation for and acknowledgement of countless contributions of personal strength, courage, and sacrifice. But we also pause to pay tribute to the patriotism, honor, and pride of those who so unselfishly gave of themselves to their country through special ceremonies and parades. And these events, so critical to our sense of history and national pride, are the business of a small military post tucked away on the southeast side of the city. Since 1801, United States Marines have occupied this bastion, located at the corner of 8th and I Streets, thus making Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. the oldest post of the Corps. It's also the location of the historic home of the Commandants, thought to be the oldest public building in continuous use in the nation's capital. Today, more than 1,100 Marines, sailors, and civilians are assigned to Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. They perform a wide variety of tasks such as special security functions. And through the Marine Corps Institute, they also serve the non-resident training needs of Marines stationed throughout the world. But their most vital role is to provide the military reviews and ceremonies that reflect the professionalism, discipline, and esprit de corps of all who are United States Marines. This role is essential in order that the rest of the country may see what the Marine Corps is all about.
The American people need to see what their Marine Corps is and what their Marine Corps does, and they don't have that much chance to do that under normal conditions. They don't get a chance to go to Camp Lejeune, they don't get a chance to go to Camp Pendleton or to Okinawa, and they need to have a chance to come and watch their Marines. They may see the Marines occasionally on a newscast, but that's just not enough. What they need to be able to do is come and see what it means to be a Marine and to see the pride and the professionalism and the discipline that is exemplified by the Marines here at the barracks.
The principal ceremonial units assigned to 8th and I are the United States Marine Band, the Marine Drum and Bugle Corps, and 2 companies of infantry Marines commonly referred to as the Marching Marines. Among these Marching Marines is the world-famous Silent Drill Platoon. The United States Marine Corps Silent Drill Platoon is a 24-man rifle team that performs a breathtaking 10-minute precision drill exhibition in front of thousands of spectators each year. Without any verbal commands, these highly disciplined Marines execute a series of painstakingly choreographed drill movements while at the same time demonstrating precision handling of their hand-polished 10-pound M1 Garand rifles with fixed bayonets. Their spectacular routine concludes with a dazzling rifle inspection sequence involving a series of seemingly effortless spins, tosses, and exchanges. The fame of the Silent Drill Platoon has been documented time and again, but their story has seldom been told. How does one get to be a member of what has come to be regarded as the world's finest military drill unit? To be sure, the selection criteria is high for those ultimately chosen to join this elite group. But before anyone is even considered, they must first be accepted as members of another highly selective organization, the United States Marine Corps.
footprints. Hurry up. Get on my footprints. Right there.
Boot camp, where the difference begins. From the cities, the suburbs, and the heartland of America, those hoping to become Marines must first do what all Marines have done.
You will do what you're told to do, when you're told to do it, how you're told to do it, and without question of authority. You understand that? Yes, sir!
They must complete a rigorous 12-week training regimen that will test them to their limits both physically and mentally. As their hair is shed, so too is their individuality. They will now be trained to act as one. This is where future members of the Silent Drill Platoon first learn about teamwork, and who better to teach them than their drill instructors. Before leaving boot camp, they will be instilled with the requisite qualities of honor, discipline, dignity, and compassion. It is the charge of the DIs to ensure that these qualities exist in every recruit before they will be called Marines.
These recruits are entrusted in my care.
These recruits are entrusted in my care.
I will train them to the best of my ability.
I will train them to the best of my ability.
I will develop them into smartly disciplined, physically fit, basically trained Marines, thoroughly indoctrinated, love of foreign country. I will demand of them, as demonstrated by my own example, the highest standards, personal conduct, morality, professional skills.
Only those who prove they have what it takes to complete recruit training will ever be considered for assignment to Marine Barracks 8th and I. So if any of these hard chargers have aspirations of performing with the Silent Drill Platoon, they have to make a good showing now. The audition has begun.
My name is Joseph Starhouse. So sit up and get your ass on me! Right, sir. Mine, huh? How are you mine now? How about this point? How about that? Get up there where you belong. Sir!
Those who earn the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor will be sharply disciplined, inspection ready, and fiercely proud of their accomplishment. They will be thoroughly familiar with Marine Corps history and its heroes, and the traditions of the Corps will be embedded in the deepest recesses of their soul. Now they're ready for the next test. With step one of the 8th and I selection process, boot camp, now completed, The new Marines report next to the School of Infantry at either Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, or Camp Pendleton, California. Here they will all be trained in the basic skills of an infantryman. After completion of their individual combat training, some will go on to more technical job specialties, and a few will stay on to complete advanced infantry training. These new infantrymen, often referred to as grunts, make up the pool from which future 8th and I Marines will emerge. Every Marine considered for assignment to 8th and I will undergo intense scrutiny. A team of screening professionals from the barracks will put each candidate under the microscope. Literally and figuratively, they will check to see if these Marines measure up to the standards that are required for assignment to the oldest post of the Corps.
We're looking for maturity, we're looking for poise, bearing, how well they handle themselves. For the purpose of my, I guess if you want to call it interrogation, I turn on the heat with them just a little bit to see how they handle answering questions under pressure.
The standards are very high. The workload can be grueling at some time. It can challenge you physically. It can challenge you mentally.
For that reason, we have to screen and pick the people who seem to have that cut above discipline-wise and are able to deal with the diversity of commitments that's going to require them to, in some cases, be pulled in a lot of different directions at one time.
8th and I is the keeper of the faith, tradition, history, and all Marines are required to keep the faith, to keep the history, to keep the tradition. The Marine that is assigned to 8th and I lives and breeds tradition, history, the true meaning of the Marine.
It's especially important that strict selection criteria be used because of the high visibility that duty at 8th and I brings. In the case of the marching Marines, they must conform to even tougher standards that consider everything from their height to their complexion. Certain eliminating factors are looked for first in the screening process. To make the initial cut, they must be between 71 and 74 inches tall when wearing boots. And because the physical demands are so great, they can have no major medical problems, especially with the back and knees. In fact, they must be in superior physical condition. And because the Marines assigned to 8th and I may find themselves on special security duty, they must also be able to qualify for a top-level security clearance. To do this, they have to have exceptionally clean civilian and military records. Even too many parking tickets could eliminate a candidate from consideration. Finally, after successful completion of their training at the School of Infantry, those that make the grade will report for duty at the oldest post of the Corps.
Left flank, huh!
Upon arrival at the barracks, Marines identified for assignment to either A or B Company will attend ceremonial drill school. This training will last about a month, during which time they will learn basic drill much like they did in boot camp, but at a much higher level. And they train virtually non-stop in order to refine and sharpen their skills. Those who excel may then be selected to try out for the silent drill platoon, and if chosen, they'll undergo another 4 months of rigorous drill training, unlike anything they've ever done before. It's known as Silent Drill School, and here they'll be taught to march all over again. They'll also become expert at handling the M1 rifle with a fixed bayonet while marching. And most importantly, they'll learn to move fluidly, as one with other platoon members, without verbal commands. This training usually commences around November each year and culminates in February during their annual 3-week session at a location away from the barracks. The site may vary, but most often will occur in an area with a warm climate, so the weather won't be a factor in carrying out their drill practice regimen.
Hard out! Hard out! Huh! Left shoulder! Huh!
All told, about 36 Marines make the annual trip to the warm weather training site. And from among these will eventually come the Marching 24. They're the ones who will represent the silent drill platoon during the hundreds of ceremonies performed worldwide each year. When the silent drill platoon arrives at their training base, it's unknown who the members of the Marching 24 will be. Everyone who comes here has the opportunity to win a starting position. Much like a professional football team in the preseason, they're all trying to impress the coach and win a permanent spot on the roster before the final cut is made. Each potential member will undergo thorough evaluation. It's the final exam portion of silent drill school. Now's the time to impress the selectors with their precision rifle handling and flawless execution of drill movements. Finally, after intense competition, the selections are made and the Marching 24 is announced. But there's little time to celebrate the accomplishment. In just a few short days, they'll begin the annual West Coast Battle Color Ceremony tour, along with the Marine Drum and Bugle Corps and the Marine Corps Color Guard. Before that first live performance, though, it's back to the parade deck for more grueling practice. They all know by now that among the thousands who will see their performances, many will leave with a new and lasting impression of what it is to be a Marine.
24 Marines that act as one. Every time they slap the rifle or slap their thigh, it's perfect precision. And the teamwork and dedication that it takes to get that precise and the close order drill, I think that's what really embodies what makes a Marine to me.
These Marines know how important their role is, and with that comes the added pressure to perform well. They meet this challenge by practicing their drill movements and rifle skills to a point well beyond exhaustion.
If you see them drill individually, it's physically demanding. They're sweating, breathing hard when they get up to the last part of the drill. It's physically and mentally taxing. About 10 days into the training, a lot of Marines are alternating soaking their hands in ice and hot water because their hands are so sore from learning to spin that 10-pound rifle. And you can hear every time they slap the weapon, they're really getting a good wood count. I'd say about the 10 to 14 day mark is when they really start to wear down. Their legs are tired from marching so much, and it's really a lot of damage done to their hands. And then the bayonets come so close, every once in a while we do get a nick here and there.
For their part, members of the Marching 24 know going in that their job won't be easy. Commitment and dedication are essential.
It takes a lot of heart to come up here, to do what we do, to practice long hours, drill for days on end, and you really have to know yourself and know what you want to do, know where you want to go, to really come up here and do the things that we do.
The epitome of discipline, camaraderie, and teamwork. That's the silent drill platoon. These same attributes can usually be found on any team that possesses a winning attitude and performs with the heart of a champion. And putting it all together is the role of the coach, teacher, or mentor. In the case of the silent drill platoon, that task falls to the drill master, a seasoned veteran of the team. It's up to him to help prepare everyone for the grueling parade season that awaits.
Aside from teaching the drill, a big part of it is being able to choreograph it, exactly what it's going to look like, taking things into consideration such as lighting. On a Friday night, for instance, a Friday night parade sequence, the Marines have to get used to spinning underneath the lights and being able to execute the movements with as very little help from the lights as possible.
After every step, twist, and turn is choreographed, it's time to get out and do it. It's now the job of each individual platoon member to learn the routine for his position. As with a sports team, everyone has a specific function, and the performance of the team as a whole depends upon proper execution of these assigned tasks. In addition to the drill master, much of the responsibility for teaching this very specialized drill routine is taken on by the rifle inspector. This is a prestigious position on the team, one that's reserved for a proven rifle handler and senior platoon member. The silent drill platoon has 2 rifle inspectors, each of whom leads a 3-man inspection team. And virtually every marching Marine strives for one of these positions.
The first step in becoming a rifle inspector on the Marine Corps Silent Drill Platoon is just making the drill team in itself. Your first year, you can go out and march all the performances. Your second year, you're afforded the opportunity to try out for the inspection team. And your third year, you can try out for rifle inspector.
The rifle inspection portion of the silent drill platoon's performance is symbolic in that it clearly illustrates the relationship between the Marine and his weapon.
When I step in front of that first Marine and he gives me his rifle, it is my duty to make sure that that rifle is clean and up to par. In a military sense, you need a clean rifle so you can, it'll be ready to fire when you need it.
In addition to the seemingly endless practice sessions already associated with the rest of the Marching 24 and their normal drill routine, the 8 members of the rifle inspection teams must also put in extra time perfecting their specialized portion of the performance. But considering the fact that all eyes will be on them come showtime, they really don't mind the extra work. They know that any noticeable miscue which occurs during their time in the spotlight is likely to be remembered by the audience, so it's well worth the effort required to put on a clean show. Now you might think that after a spot on the Marching 24 has finally been secured, a natural tendency would be to let up just a little, but that's far from being the case. After making the team, the platoon members have to rededicate themselves to remaining razor sharp and intensely focused on the job at hand, because waiting in the wings are the alternates. Referred to as the supernumeraries, or supers, these Marines would like nothing better than to perform with the Marching 24, and they can earn a spot on Challenge Day. Once a super feels he's ready, he can challenge a current member to one-on-one drill competition. If he wins, he's in. It's the competitive spirit that exists in each platoon member that has gotten them this far, and it's that same spirit that fuels their motivation and determination to consistently perform at a championship level. Another elite unit that trains with the Silent Drill Platoon and is headquartered at the oldest post of the Corps is the Marine Corps Color Guard. The Color Sergeant of the Marine Corps and his Marines make up the Color Guard section of Company A. Their ceremonial mandate is to carry the Marine Corps color for official government and military functions. These Marines participate in either Joint Service Color Guards or serve as the Marine Corps Color Guard, commonly known as the Parade 4. They perform nearly 1,000 commitments per year. In addition to the National Ensign, the Color Guard carries the battle color of the Marine Corps. It's the privilege of Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C., to be entrusted with the custody of this color. Attached to it are the battle honors, citations, battle streamers, and silver bands that represent the more than 400 awards and campaigns of the United States Marines.
Colors. Oh, damn.
The Color Sergeant of the Marine Corps is one of the most high-profile positions for sergeants of Marines.
To me, it's been pretty overwhelming the entire time. I've been the Color Sergeant for over 13 months now, and what I've learned from not only the people that I've worked with, but the people that I've met, prior veterans, and a lot of very important people as far as some of the ceremonies we've actually gone out and attended. And they've always recognized me as far as being one of 4 Marines that actually hold the title of the Marine Corps. You've got the Commandant of the Marine Corps, the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and the Color Sergeant of the Marine Corps. Along with some of the additional duties that I have as being Color Sergeant of the Marine Corps, for all White House state functions, I carry the presidential colors for all state dinners. And by virtue of billet as a Color Sergeant, I'm recognized as the Senior Sergeant in the Marine Corps. That means a lot to me, because to be representing the Marine Corps and carrying the national flag for the entire Marine Corps is my responsibility. I would consider that a great honor.
Known as the Marine Corps' musical ambassadors of goodwill, the Marine Drum and Bugle Corps is also stationed at 8th and I. This story unit travels more than 50,000 miles a year, performing in nearly 400 events throughout the nation and the world. Dressed in their ceremonial red and white uniforms, they're internationally recognized as a premier marching musical unit. Formed in 1934 to augment the Marine Band, the Drum and Bugle Corps was established to provide musical support to ceremonies around the nation's capital, and during World War II was also tasked with presidential support duties. For this additional duty, President Franklin Delano Roosevelt awarded them the Scarlet and Gold Breast Cord. But it would not be until the early 1950s that they would be officially designated as the U.S. Marine Drum and Bugle Corps and earn the moniker of the Commandant's Own. And in 1957, they were directed to trade in their traditional blue Marine blouse for the scarlet one worn today. Like the Silent Drill Platoon, the Drum and Bugle Corps spends a tremendous amount of time preparing for the parade season. Since its inception, their musical proficiency and marching finesse have been the hallmark of their performances. And to achieve this level of melodic and rhythmic excellence takes intricate planning and a keen awareness of the musical tastes of the day. There are only about 80 musicians that make up the Marine Drum and Bugle Corps, and those who march and play with the group understand how privileged they are, because openings don't occur that often.
All of our Marines must indeed have, prior to entering the service, the ability to play the horn. We actually don't take anybody and teach them how. We have a very arduous audition process. For example, if you played a horn and you wanted to become a member of, we would audition you. And if we found you qualified and we had an opening, we would accept you for enlistment into the Commandant's Zone. You would go then to your recruiter, you would enlist in the Marine Corps, you would go to Parris Island or San Diego to undergo the normal recruit training that all of our Marines do. Once you've satisfactorily completed that, you come to Marine Barracks, 8th and I, and theoretically can march there for the next 20 years if you maintain your standard of performance and you find it to your liking.
The marching presentation is choreographed to the style of music being played, utilizing different types of formations, drill movements, and instrumental direction, and is artistically designed using the latest computer technology.
Basically speaking, what will happen in the fall, I'll put together, I'll arrange all the music and we'll decide what we want to highlight and how better to pictorially feature the musical score. We'll talk about ideas, we'll talk about how we want to feature different parts and or different soloists like you've seen today. And then we take and actually put it into a computer. We have a computer program and tell it how many people we have, what's different types of instruments, and believe it or not, when we're done, we have a computer readout for every Marine. Each Marine has a sheet which depicts where he's supposed to be at any particular point in time as it relates to the musical score. And because of its 3D effect, we can actually look at it on the screen and get a good idea visually what it's going to look like before we even try it when the person's out here. So it's really speeded up the teaching process appreciably.
Finally, the tryouts, rehearsals, and fine-tuning are complete. It's time to unwind, albeit briefly. With more than 6 months of intense training behind them, these 3 performing units now get some downtime. Relaxing moments are rare during parade season, so they don't hesitate to take advantage of opportunities when they're presented. But come showtime, they'll be ready. And when they hear the echoes of applause and experience the swell of emotion all around them, they'll know that the countless hours of preparation were worth it.
To sense the air of patriotism and love of God, country, and our Corps from the people once they've watched us is indeed, all the reward anybody could ask for. It really is something that you have to experience to be able to really understand.
As the Marine Corps Battle Color Detachment tours the country, for the other units assigned to 8th and I, it's business as usual. Whether maintaining the hallowed grounds of the Corps' oldest post, carrying out duties as part of a special security detail, or taking part in a public relations event, all personnel assigned to the barracks perform key roles that contribute enormously to the overall mission of the command. One very special member of the barracks ceremonial team is the Marine Corps' official mascot. The tradition of the mascot began after World War I, when General John A. Lejeune, 13th Commandant, was presented with an English bulldog by the name of Sergeant Major Jiggs. Since that time, the mascot has been an official member of Marine Barracks 8th and I, a Marine with a rank like all the others. After World War II, in tribute to one of the Corps' most heroic Marines, Lieutenant General Lewis B. Chesty Puller, the name was changed and the mascot remains Chesty to this day. Also part of 8th and I is the Marine Corps Institute. Located in Lejeune Hall at the Washington Navy Yard, MCI provides non-resident training courses for Marines worldwide that are designed to enhance occupational as well as battle skills. The Marines assigned to the Institute are an integral component of 8th and I and are also fully engaged in the ceremonial missions of Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. They're among the most highly respected members of all armed forces. Consisting of 19 Marines, the body bearer section of Company B is primarily tasked with providing burial support at national cemeteries in the Washington, D.C. area. But they also participate in joint service funerals for high-ranking government officials held elsewhere throughout the country. And although they don't receive as much public attention as other ceremonial units, the pride and professionalism of the body bearers doesn't go unnoticed by the families of those they're charged to honor. Unlike other military body bearer sections, which have 8 men on a casket, the Marine body bearers use only 6. So in order to be assigned to this unit, the Marines have to be physically stronger than the average ceremonial marcher. Since they'll be lifting caskets that sometimes weigh as much as 1,100 pounds, they're required to maintain strength levels that make them equal to the task. It's known as casket drill. In an underground parking area at the barracks, the body bearers refine their technique by spending hours practicing and perfecting every movement until it is correct, fluid, and in unison. Their routine consists of lifting and carrying a casket that's filled with sandbags or weights to make the exercise seem as real as possible. In a special tribute to their fallen comrades, the body bearers execute a final salute to the deceased by raising the casket above their heads before laying it to rest. They're the only military burial section that performs this movement. Combining their unique style, grace, and discipline, these Marines represent a grateful nation's acknowledgement for honorable and faithful service to their country. Although their mission is largely ceremonial, it should be emphasized that all those assigned to 8th and I are first and foremost combat-ready Marines.
These Marines do everything that any other Marine does in terms of their training requirements. The 2 marching companies here are light infantry companies. They are in fact infantry Marines, and they have to go out and maintain proficiency and skills just like any other Marine does. And we don't consider ourselves to be just parade deck Marines. We consider ourselves to be Marines that are capable of doing what other Marines can do. If you're going to represent the rest of the Marine Corps, you got to be able to do what the rest of the Marine Corps can do.
The United States Marines are world-renowned for their warfighting prowess, but they're equally adept at conducting military parades, grand events complete with the pomp and circumstance befitting the most regal of affairs. And when it comes to parades, no one does it better than the Marines at 8th and I. They have participated in these courtly processions since their inception in 1801, frequently in front of foreign dignitaries and heads of state. And all who have witnessed these Marines on parade have been impressed with their perfection, pride, and professionalism. Since September 1956, the marching and musical units of Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. have performed during the summer months at the Marine Corps War Memorial, also known as the Iwo Jima Monument at Arlington National Cemetery. It's known as the Sunset Parade, and it draws hundreds of thousands of spectators each year as the Corps honors the memory of those Marines who have given their lives to their country since November 10, 1775. This elaborate performance features the Marine Corps Drum and Bugle Corps with its Concert in Motion, and the precision rifle handling of the Silent Drill Platoon. When watching from the grassy slopes of this picturesque natural amphitheater, one can't help but sense a proud nation's respect for the contributions of its people. It begins like other days at 8th and I with the raising of the national colors. But this day is different. It's Friday morning, and in just over 12 hours, the Marines of the oldest post will dazzle thousands with the splendor and pageantry of the world's most dramatic military celebration, the evening parade. But there's much to be done before the ceremony begins, and for every Marine who performs in the parade, there are countless others backstage that help make it possible.
For every Marine you see on the deck, there is at least one other Marine who's behind the scenes making sure that everything is going just the way it should. You have the grounds Marines who do such a wonderful job of getting all of this put together. This is a showcase of the Marine Corps. The grounds are immaculate.
Setting up for the parade involves laying dozens of plywood walkway boards covered with black matting and erecting additional bleachers and chairs so that they'll be able to handle the anticipated 3,000 to 4,000 guests. The grass will be cut to perfection. Access surfaces will be washed down and scrubbed. Curbs will be painted. Trees will be trimmed. And weeds will be pulled. Anything that might possibly be seen by a guest at 8th and I receives the kind of attention to detail that the Marines have become known for. If it shows the promise of a shine, it will be polished to brilliance. The majesty of the evening will be enhanced by the luster of the setting. Preparation is the key to a successful evening. Friday morning rehearsals are the time to perfect the rhythm of the parade sequences, and nothing is left to chance. This run-through of the parade will be followed by another if the officer in charge feels it's necessary. Following the rehearsal, a critique of the performance is offered. Every aspect of the parade is analyzed, and refinements are made where needed. But with the exception of the possible tweaking of alignment or adjusting the timing of rifle maneuvers, very little needs to be done. Through the ritual of practice, they have honed their talents into an art form. After the marching portion of the parade rehearsal has been completed, the Drum and Bugle Corps returns to the deck to run through their evening concert routine. All world-class musicians and battle-ready Marines, their mission this day is to entertain and inspire the thousands who will witness their performance in just a few hours. Like the calm before the storm, all seems still on the parade ground. But much is going on. The bright red uniforms of the Marine Band and the Drum and Bugle Corps have been immaculately pressed and delivered a few hours before showtime. Meanwhile, the marchers don their ceremonial blue blouse and white trousers in a unique ritual fashion common only to barracks Marines. By wrapping heavy tape around their waist, they secure the t-shirt to the trousers. This keeps the shirt and trousers together and at the same time maintains the hem at the correct height by eliminating sagging. Some Marines claim this binding also provides additional back support, which is probably a good idea given that they'll be on their feet for about the next 6 hours. The dress blue blouse follows and is of course lint-free after a good going over with yet more tape. And finally, the white barracks hat, known to Marines as their cover, completes the ceremonial dress. Because the evening parade is recognized as one of the world's most spectacular military ceremonies, People come from all over to experience this grand event.
People who come to the parade any night at Marine Barracks, Washington, D.C. are not viewers, or they're not in the audience center, they're not participants, they are our guests. The whole idea of coming to a Marine Barracks parade is to feel like one has been hosted. The parties are met at the curbside by Marines who will take the lady on their arm and escort them into the immaculately groomed grounds here. They're met by another Marine who will make sure that they're properly seated. They'll be treated like the very important people that all our guests are.
With the start of the parade drawing ever nearer, there's an obvious tension and excitement in the air. The Barracks Marines call it the parade atmosphere. The silent drill platoon, along with the other ceremonial marchers, assemble behind the barracks in an area referred to as the bricks. One last time they go through their drill routine. While ridding themselves of nervous energy, they also sharpen their focus and concentration. They're ready for a parade. Finally, as visions of scarlet and white pass through the arched barracks corridors, one senses that the tone of the evening is about to change. The thousands who have come to witness the evening parade suddenly find the United States Marine Band stirring their feelings of patriotism during a pre-parade concert. Founded in 1798, they're the oldest musical organization in America. In fact, they're nearly as old as America itself. They perform more than 600 times a year with at least 200 performances at the White House. It's because of this traditional privilege that the band is referred to as the President's Own. The legendary maestro of the military march, John Philip Sousa, was once their director. And in his honor, each pre-parade concert ends with his Stars and Stripes Forever. Weekly parades have been held within the famed quadrangle at 8th and I since 1934. Initially called sunset parades because they were held in the late afternoon, they remained basically unchanged until 1947, when performances by the Drum and Bugle Corps and Silent Drill Platoon were added. It would be after a performance at the Bermuda International Searchlight Tattoo in 1956 that an idea for a change in parade format developed. As a result, since July 5, 1957, the parade has been conducted after daylight hours using an intricate spotlighting technique that highlights elements of the performance. The evening parade is a unique and patriotic tradition of the oldest post of the Corps that epitomizes both ceremonial grandeur and military efficiency. Those serving in harm's way and at posts throughout the world can rest assured knowing that their comrades at 8th and I are providing a positive reflection of all that is Marine. Through them, the public gets a first-hand look at more than 2 centuries of Corps loyalty, honor, and pride. This ceremony has been witnessed by presidents, high-ranking government officials, and dignitaries from around the world. But despite the zealous reception of these individuals of prominence, it's those who have worn the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor who truly find the evening parade to be at the very heart of what the Marine Corps is all about. Whether it's the aura of this historic venue filled with the renderings of march music from the President's Own, or the more contemporary sounds of the Drum and Bugle Corps. One is certain to be captivated by the majesty of this evening. Yet perhaps the greatest exhilaration is heralded by the silence. Except for the rhythmic slap of the hand to the body or the rifle, it's that vision of 24 Marines working as a team, performing as one, that stirs the soul. When we see that, we instinctively know that we are in fact seeing the embodiment of the entire Marine Corps. At their performances around the country and abroad, the Silent Drill Platoon carries with them a message to America that their Marine Corps is strong and ready, and at the same time recounts a history of battles fought, bloodshed, and heroes made. General John A. Lejeune, the Corps' 13th Commandant, once proclaimed that the future success of the Marine Corps depends upon two factors: an efficient performance of all the duties to which its officers and men may be assigned, and then promptly bringing this efficiency to the attention of the government and the American people. Doing their part are the men and women of 8th and I, who present the story of the Marines in such a way that every American and witness will surely come to share their fierce pride in country and corps.